As we enter into the 2016 season, the expectations are sky high. We've come off 3 back-to-back 10-win seasons. We hadn't lost a district football game since early in 2013.
Yeah, expectations were high. Our senior class last year had a really good year, 3 rounds deep, so everybody was expecting us to come out hot and follow in their footsteps and really do big things.
The springtime is an opportunity to evaluate your team, of course. It's also an opportunity to experiment a little bit with your schemes and your strategies. As you enter into the spring, it's almost like taking another job. You know, every football team is completely different because of graduation. And so it's an opportunity to find out who you are, what you can do, what you think your strengths might be, what some weaknesses are, and then schematically how to try to put your team in the very best position. So spring's very, very competitive, it's very, very physical, and it's one of my favorite times of the year.
The spring game, you're playing against everybody. There's a draft before, so a lot of trash talking. Everybody thinks their team's going to win, and that's the time where you get to be creative, make a little bit trick plays, and play against each other, and really butt heads and go for real against each other.
It's a grind at Martin High School. Just being committed and waking up every day at 7:30. You know, going to sleep that night and knowing you got to wake up early and earlier than all your friends, and got to have that commitment. You can't give up. Can't stay at home and pretend you're sick and eat donuts and lounge around playing video games.
As a start of off season, we start with something called circuit, which is repetition after repetition. And if you don't get it right the first time, you drop the bars, you go back, do it again until you get it right. Coach Strax makes sure that we get enough repetitions every year until we get it right. And then we eventually get it, and then we start adding weight and we start going heavier and heavier. But first of all, it's back to the basics. Repetition, great form, great effort. That's what it's all about from the start.
Well, you've got to really love football to go through 2-a-days in the Texas heat. It's 100 degrees every day, and we're out there for several hours, not only practicing, but lifting, studying. Those first 2 weeks are really, really fun because there's no school yet. And so your time, both as a player and a coach, is undivided. Your attention is undivided, and you're able to give sole focus and attention to preparation for the football season.
2 days are a grind, especially in Texas when heat's going up. You gotta rely on your buddies to keep you going, and coaches, a lot of juice, give you a lot of juice trying to keep you going. And I remember there was one day when our offensive coordinator, Coach Reeves, he was throwing up in the middle of practice, but he just kept on going. He didn't care. He just give the play, go to the trash can, and give us the next play. Wouldn't stop.
The Allen scrimmage was a big step up from what I've been playing against, and to be honest, I was a little nervous, and I didn't know what to think of Allen going into it. I just tried to do as much as I could with the offense that I knew.
There was a lot of emotions going around. I was psyched, first game of the year, get to see how I prepared so far throughout the season, or throughout the off season in the summer. And it was just a good atmosphere to play against Allen, and it was a good game, a hard-fought game.
The Allen scrimmage was pretty cool going to that big stadium. Never seen a high school stadium like that as big as it was. It's an interesting experience. Cool seeing everybody play against someone else for the first time this season and seeing how we'll show out this season. Seeing Matt Cook play, pretty cool. His first game, Juma Octaviano, just a great player, watching him run the ball. And then kicking that game-winning field goal with everybody surrounding me screaming, not the nicest things, but that was pretty awesome, kicking that Allen Stadium, showing them up.
We got to go to Allen Stadium, which is one of the biggest stadiums in the country, so that was really cool. Really big environment, got to test ourselves against a perennial powerhouse, so really got to see where we were at. Had a really good game. Our kicker, Patrick Grady, made a field goal in the end to win it, which was really fun, and gave us good hope for the rest of the season.
our last 4 games against Skyline all have been settled by 5 points or less. And so very, very competitive games. In fact, they had a 3-1 win advantage over us in the previous 4 years. And so, you know, coming into that first game of the year, it's one of the premier games in the Dallas-Fort Worth area because of the history of success that both programs have had.
Skyline, every year, Coach Wigger says that it's always a dogfight. It's always a real close game every year. This year we had the chance to attack from the very first snap.
Number one thing, guys, we got to play with our fundamentals that we've worked on all summer, all first part of the 2 days. We got to make sure we're fundamentally sound. We got to know and do our job. Last thing, play with our hair on fire. Got it? And fly around today. Head hunters on 3. 1, 2, 3. Head hunters! Chop your feet and listen. We know we're going to rely on our condition. We know that's going to happen, but we got to rely on our fundamentals too. These guys can wiggle. Every single one of these guys can wiggle. Break down, don't run past anybody and make a play. Be on 1, 3, 2, 1,
It's not why I became a football coach. It's what gravitated. Once we all became coaches. We fell in love with players and helped them get to where they wanted to be. It's the most important thing. When I was a little kid and I first saw football, my heart started doing something, and I didn't know exactly what was happening in there, but I knew it felt different than the way it normally feels. Then I started playing high school football, and my heart started pounding, and I couldn't exactly understand it, but I knew that I couldn't live without that pound, and so I wanted to play college football. And when I started playing college football, my heart started pounding, and once my career was coming to an end, I knew I couldn't live the rest of my life without that heart pounding feeling. And that's what when you want to be a coach. It's the roar, man. It's the roar when you run out and the feeling of chill that goes right up your spine and your heart starts pounding. And when we got off of Woodside and got onto Arkansas, my heart started pounding, man. I love going to battle with you right now. And if it gets hung up, let's go get it covered one way.
Speed on 3, 1, 2, 3.
We've been preparing for it for the last 9 months, so we came out hot and they made a couple mistakes and we really jumped on all the opportunities that they gave us.
Our defense created a number of turnovers. Our special teams units blocked several kicks, and that really sprung the game open. We played on a short field the whole night. Okay? Well, you gotta have everybody eyes on the ball, hit their mark at the same time, and then blow past level 1, okay? We got them inside the 15 last time. Let's go get them again. Here we go.
Speed on 3, 1, 2, 3.
We were able to dominate throughout the game. Very good defensive plays, also offensive plays.
I felt like we started connecting a lot together on offense, and I was able to get in the groove with throwing the ball, and whenever you get in a groove with throwing the ball, you're in a groove with running the ball. So once that happened, I felt comfortable and I settled down and had fun with it.
Firing time. 85 yards on the fumble recovery. Touchdown, Warriors.
Hey, we cover, regardless where the ball goes. If it goes deep, don't assume they're not going to run it out. They're desperate right now, okay? Hey, let's keep our foot on the gas and let's step on their throat. It's going to be blue one. Nothing out the back door, okay? You guys got it?
You can't throw it up for grabs. You got to get some points out of this play. Get a home run shot, we can hit it, great. Don't let them take our ball away from us again if it's bad. Any pressure, throw it away, live to play another down and play another play. Okay, let's go. Go for it. We start surging. It's got to be juicy on the sideline. Go make plays, and let's get those points that we left hanging off the board. I want to throttle these guys right now. I want to send a message to make them question whether or not they ever want to play us again. So play with energy. Create it on the sideline, pass it over the field, play your tail off, and then go make the plays that I know that you're capable of making. Take pride in what you're doing, and let's go play lights out.
There you go, Brad. That was Juma Ataviano, 44 yards, touchdown, Warriors.
First game, like an actual sack, the first game of the season. And that kind of set us up, gave us confidence for the rest of non-district and districts.
And the Warriors go up 36-0 here as the third quarter winds down.
Really what we use to scale ourselves, what we need to work on. This year, Skyline wasn't what we expected them to be, which that was okay. We got a big win and we came out flying around, a bunch of guys making plays. It was good all around.
Yeah, giving us a bunch of juice for the season. Kicking it off right, 55-7. That's a good win for sure. Blocked kicks and returning punts, and just an awesome way to start off the season.
We're now setting ourselves up for a great big statewide interest game against South Lake Carroll. We've lost 3 or 4 football games in 15 years at that stadium. Set ourselves up. That's the cool thing about winning a big game, man. You get a bigger game, okay? Please stay off the social media in regards to that game. Please take the high road humble, and we will continue to get better. And we'll be ready to go play South Lake Carroll. We'll be ready. Starts tomorrow morning at 10. But tonight, let's celebrate this. We get into that locker room, I'm talking that old school Gap Band funk, and I can't wait to party with you. How do we do it? Together. 1, 2, 3. One.
The non-district games that you play, you can schedule anyone you want in those first 3 games. And for as many years now as I can remember, there's not been a team that we've played in the first 3 weeks of the season that hasn't been a playoff team and really deep into the playoff type caliber team. And South Lake Carroll is a brand name. That's a nationally known program, and they had a very, very good football team.
You are great for fighting. You're fighting for something bigger. You're fighting for something bigger. So let's go. Savage on 3. Go. 1, 2, 3. Savage. Hold on.
A lot of people there, a lot of hype after we had just beaten Skyline. Everybody was really hyped up for that game.
First thing Coach told us was they were big. They were real big. You know, we studied film all week, and we kind of realized what they were good at. They were an amazing team, all around, really good team.
Play hard, play fast, let them hit adversity, they can make some big plays. We got to overcome that. Leon, 1, 3, 2, 1.
Of Martin High School and your Carroll Dragons.
Playing in such a big environment was cool. You know, when Alabama is playing at halftime, their band's practicing, it's got to be a pretty big game.
What we remember most was a great environment at South Lake Carroll. It was a packed house. It was certainly, if not one of the biggest games in the Metroplex at the time. Us coming off a huge win, and then Carroll just being who they are and the program that they have.
Go right past them. Go hit some little rich kid in the mouth right over there in the corner. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, speed.
And we came out and stuck with them. They had a couple really dynamic players.
You know, it was really competitive. We all had a chance to go 100% against each other. Me, I was looking at, I think it was 76, real big guy. Yeah, we were. It was a really tough game.
Touchdown run. Patrick Grady on the point after is good out of the hold of Ottaviano. Your score now, the Dragons 14, the Warriors 7. Here we go now.
learning experience for me. I think that playing Southlake, it helped our team out very much.
Interesting experience, and I think we learned a lot from it. Playing such a tough team and learning what kind of team we really are.
That'll bring us to the end of the first half. Your score, the Dragons 20, the Warriors 7.
All right, it's going to be three returns. Let's get it. 1, 2, 3. Go.
Helped us learn that we needed to practice a little harder from what how we were practicing and change the way we were practicing.
And your score now, the Dragons 23, the Warriors 7.
Unfortunately, we lost, but that game made us better because, going against someone as Southlake always gives you a good, feedback of how you are as a team.
The good thing about playing really good opponents in the non-district is you learn a lot about yourselves. Sometimes that happens when you win, and sometimes that happens when you lose. And in this particular situation, we faced a really good football team that took advantage of some mistakes that we made, and we grew immensely from the loss. Yeah, South Grand Prairie, again, a perennial playoff team. They'd beaten Trinity the year before in the playoffs. We've had some great games with them, and they happen to tout the top-ranked defensive player in the country, who they also played offensively as well.
Yeah, that center really gave me a tough time because I was playing nose. He's really good. Also, that one top cornerback is an amazing player. We had a tough time catching up to him.
Hey, remember this, the whole game. Okay? They're going to make plays and so are we. They're going to mess up and so are we. As long as we have 11 hats in the football every single play, we're going to win this football game. Sir. Be on 1, 3, 2, 1. D.
I want you to play with the confidence, knowing that you're well prepared. We get nervous in the ocean when we don't know how to swim. We don't get nervous when we play football. We practice it well, we play it well, but right now we got a team that's across from us. We've got 2 1-1 football teams, both of them trying to find themselves, much of which may be determined tonight.
That was also one of the best games we used to help scale ourselves, and it was a hard-fought game.
Very, very close game. As I look back on that game, I remember being extremely physical, and the third of 3 really physical football games.
Get your butt up, don't step too big, dip, rip, swing for the moon, and let's go block this. They have protection. They have an opportunity to return.
A lot of guys got injured, and we had to plug in new guys to new roles, and we had a bunch of younger guys playing for the first time, so it was just an experience for everyone.
Down the pocket, into the right side, 46 yards, touchdown.
kick is good. Patrick Grady, 45-yarder.
Playing Mr. Jeffrey Okuda, one of the top recruits in the nation, is a cool experience. And having to kick the ball to him, end zone, and having him return one on you wasn't the coolest thing, especially trying to tackle him and kneeing you in the face mask. But that was a game that we should have won and didn't go our way.
Option, and I just waited till the last second and got drilled, butt in the air and everything, and my back. It was bad.
Third non-district game, and it was a tough non-district schedule, and they were a good team, and we hung with them through 2 quarters, and then they started making plays, and we just couldn't keep up. And a couple guys got banged up, and we ended up losing that game.
We fought till the game was over, like we always do, and even with that loss, we kept our head up. Real fun time during the game, though. Really enjoyed it.
Very, very close game at the half, and South Grand Prairie pulled away in the second half and set us up going into the bye week with a much better understanding of who we were, the areas that we needed to improve upon, and the things that we could do well. Anytime you lose the game before you enter into the bye, there are 2 things that you have to do well in the bye. The first is you have to overcome the emotional disappointment of the fact that you just came off of a loss, and you don't have time to pout. You got to get ready for the rest of the season, the most important aspect of the season, which is your district portion. And so that's an area of time where we really feel like we excel. We spend a great deal of time on the fundamentals. We spend a great deal of time on the conditioning aspect of it. And at the same time, you're working the mind, and you're trying to make sure that emotionally you come out of that week back sky high again, ready to enter in what is the most important part, which is the second season, the district portion of the season. I have tremendous confidence that you're extremely well prepared, you're highly motivated. You understand the significance not only of this football game, but of the tradition that comes along with it. Let it rip. Take a deep breath, one play at a time. Let's go get it, boys.
Win one hit, I want another, and another, and another. Let's go, let's go. Hey,
down on 1, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it, baby. Let's go.
Everybody was fired up for it, you know, it's Bowie. And it's my first district game here, so I didn't know what to expect. I was real nervous this game.
Now the second part of it, what did they run? They worked it all these 8-slip curls. 8-slip curls, so we should have a back.
Going into district season, playing Bowie was going to be a good game for sure. Not losing a district game in many years was definitely something that we had to stick with.
Grady, number 44, the 26-yard field goal attempt. It's good.
For many years now in a row, the Martin Bowie game was a game that would ultimately determine the district champion. And as the two largest schools that qualified for the playoffs would also determine who was the #1 seed entering into the playoffs. And so to get a rivalry game and then certainly a very meaningful game right out of the box, it was a great big first round opponent. We actually went into the game with a number of players that were playing in that game that hadn't played a great deal in the first 3 games, guys that were banged up from the previous 3 games.
Curl 8-slip, and they're not getting our thumbs out there. It's going to come, we're going to get it fixed. You got to be more aggressive there, okay? Now lock in, let's play with some emotion, and let's go fast. Go fast.
Go, make a play.
Let us be stacked. That man.
Take a deep breath. Look, you're faster than them. You are. You're playing so much faster than them, but you're playing beyond what you have to. Just do your job, all right? Let's go. Split them up.
All right, so they're going to do line out. We're going to go frog, tomahawk, rat, zone, all right? Guys, we're doing it right here. Just keep being patient. We'll get the ball back right now. Frog, tomahawk, rat, zone. Let's go. Let's go.
That really helped us to kind of humble ourselves a little bit and realize where we were. What do we need to do to get better? What do we need to do to win? And how are we going to do it?
Watch out, you got the back door. Okay, watch your toss. Hit, throw, be set when they come out of here. Let's go make a play. You're 100% sure I'm right on first down.
Possible screen down, possible trick plays, 1st and 10. They might take a shot, so they might throw a reverse pass or something like that because they have 3 more downs to go. They're going for a 4th down. They're scared to punt. So be ready for a trick play, be ready for a screen, plant your foot, and let's go make a play, all right?
Defense played their tails off. They played a great game, and offense just never really got it going. We had some of our players out from the last week. They had some tough injuries, and we fought hard, but just couldn't get it done in the end.
Losing that first one wasn't a good feeling, especially knowing that we only lost by a field goal and could have went a different way very easily. Another good learning situation for us, and just wish it could have gone the other way.
Our defense had a tremendous performance. We did give up a long touchdown on a screen pass late in the game, and then drove right back down the field, down 12-10 with an opportunity to win it with a minute left to go in the game. Bowie created a takeaway, and that was the end of it. And lost the first district game of the year, the first in a long, long time, 12-10 to a good Bowie football team that went 3 rounds deep in the playoffs. Anytime you start the district campaign at 0-1, your back is already against the wall. There are 8 teams in the district, only 4 teams make the playoffs. And so we realized that, in order for us to be able to get back in the race, we had to have it. And we went over to Farrington Field, which is one of the more historical stadiums in the state and honestly the country. You have to understand what's happening right now in the present, this moment, right this second. We are an 0-1 football team on the bottom of the barrel in the race for an opportunity to make the playoffs and represent our school and our community in a fight for a state championship. The bottom half don't even get in. Don't even get a chance. We're fighting for a chance right now, man. Welcome to the fight. Let's go.
What I really liked about the Pascal game was playing on Farrington Field. You could just feel the history in that stadium, sitting there and seeing Coach Wager just stare down that walkway, thinking of all the greats that have played in that stadium. It's really cool. And then playing on a Thursday night kind of added a weird effect to it too.
Time it up. Let's go, baby. Let's set the tone right here, man.
Everybody know your job. All right, here we go. Speed on 3, 1, 2, 3, please. Everybody trust each other. Everybody does their job. I promise you it's going to be good. I promise you that. Okay? Hey, we'll call it from the sideline. All right, let's execute. Score on 3, 1, 2, 3. Go.
Pascal was a very fun game. We came out, hard. There was one time special teams was just back and forth. We'd kick it off, they'd returned it back. They kicked off, we returned one back, and then we kicked off again. It was just like 6 times in a row, it was just back and forth, and then we pulled away, and then second half came around and everyone was playing. Everyone got to play that game, so it was fun for everyone.
Into the end zone, touchdown, Warriors.
came out firing on all cylinders. We got up big at halftime, and during halftime, everybody was excited because everybody was going to get to play. Your buddies that you worked with through the offseason are going to get a chance to show what they can do now, even though they usually don't get as much playing time as you. And so it was fun to watch them get to do their thing instead of having them cheer them on instead.
Pasco is always a fun game to play. You always get to see your teammates perform, even the ones who don't really have the chance to be a part of it as much, to play that much. They went out there and they played lights out. That's all they did all game. Offense, defensive players, and we came out with the win. That really boosts our confidence to go hard the next week, and kind of shows that even our other teammates were able to play at a high level.
My old school, yeah, so it was fun beating up on those guys, a bunch of my buddies. I got to score the first touchdown against Pasco, so that was great. But I feel like it was fun letting everybody get to play, and everybody got to have that experience against them.
We started really fast, and we were up by 50 points at the half. And then the best part of it was when you get into those games, the guys that are program guys that do all the right things but maybe don't always have an opportunity to play as much as they'd like to. Every one of those guys had an opportunity to get into the game, and not only did they play, but they played very well.
You were better throughout the week, communicated better throughout the week, your attentiveness was better, your effort was better, your attitude was better, and it showed. We're not there. We got a whole lot better than the last time we played football, and I love it. I appreciate it, and I'm proud of you for that. Please go thank those cheerleaders, the drill team, and the band for sticking with us real quick, and then say hi to your folks. How do we do it? Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
So Mansfield was district game number 3. At this point, we're now 1-1. Mansfield was coming off the best season in school history. They were a semifinalist from a year ago and had 2 of the more dynamic players in the state this year, led by Kennedy Brooks, an Oklahoma commit.
Mansfield was homecoming week, and that's got to be a big one, playing a tough team like that went pretty deep in the playoffs last year, and newcomers in the district.
Everyone's talking about Mansfield and how they have a great running back. So we were just focused on our roles and just getting ready for that game. And we prepared very well for it.
We came out there with a mentality that we were going to win from the start. It was a battle down the trenches, offensive line, defensive line, from the start of the game till the end.
X's and O's in this game, in my experience, are way overrated. This game is about passion. This game is about physicality. This game is about watching each other's back, having pride, and being willing to fight. That's it. We've owned this district for a long time, and we've owned this facility right here that's not even our campus for a long, long time. Let them have it from the very first snap. Let's go get it. Ladies and gentlemen, here they come. Now, if you can back up, field it going forward, 5, 6, 8 deep, I don't care. But don't run it out if you're having to go backwards. You got me? The ball hits the end zone, it's dead. All right? Now, if you field it, you can run it. Let's go, boys. Go on 3, 1, 2, 3. Go.
Tiger, Warrior, here we go. Tigers tacked up 3 on the board.
block. Inside the end zone. Touchdown, Martin High School Warriors.
It's a long way to go. All right, I know good things happen. Follow me when they're happening. All right, we control that. All right. We're gonna go. It's gonna be blue one. All right, run fast. Try to beat Tommy B down the field. All right. Here we go. Speed on three. 1, 2, 3. Speed. Tech 78 QT, we're going to squeeze it, all right? So Roger East, squeeze. So bring it in there, and hey, let's mess those guys up in the end. Don't take the lead right here. It's in okay. It's in okay, okay? All right,
Juma Taviano takes the snap out of the shotgun. Rolls on the right side, finds daylight. Touchdown, Martin High School Warriors.
Out of it. You got them closed up with the sign that everybody's doing their job. Now just trust and keep on squeezing, man. He's got nowhere to go. Don't bounce out, don't spurt out. Just keep squeezing from your depth. Quickest battle down here, D, right here. This is the stuck goal line stop that inspires us, baby. This inspires us, all right? Let's go.
Hey, we got heavy. We got heavy.
They had won their district, and when they merged into ours, that was a game we were circled on our calendar. But as our homecoming game, and they had a few really good players, and we stuck with them. Had a great second quarter. Went into halftime, excited for the second half, and then we just came out a little bit flat and couldn't hang with them for the rest of the game.
And at the end of 2 quarters of play, it's the Mansfield Tiger 26, the Martin High School Warriors 22.
It was a very close game the first half, and then second half came by and we just, I believe, lost focus.
We kind of let it slip. Had some bad plays on offense where we turned the ball over and they took advantage of that.
Stuck with them till halftime, and playing Kennedy Brooks was pretty crazy, seeing him run the ball and knowing he's going to be a D1 big time guy next year. Disappointing we couldn't pull away with the win on homecoming, but still a good game.
It was a very close game at the half, very physical. Really the two toughest kids on the block. You know, it was an opportunity for the two big dogs to go at it and fight, and it was very competitive game, very close game.
43-yard touchdown run, Juma Taviano.
But in the end, Mansfield won the football game, and we now faced a situation where for the first time in a long time, we were 1-2 in district.
We stood up all day. We kept fighting, we kept going, and sometimes you lose some, you win some. We were fortunate enough to learn from that game, so next week we could beat our opponent. But yeah, this was giving us a 2-1 season record, so we had to step it up.